Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Jeffrey. As usual, if you're new here, please ensure to help a brother out. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos. Let's get straight into it. Task killers and RAM boosters. They're actually still a thing in 2022. I thought they had died out a long time ago until like I had to help someone get rid of one of them because she had them on her phone, a friend, and I also brought it up in a WhatsApp group of sorts, and there are people who still vehemently defended it that we need task killers and RAM boosters, and I was like, yeesh. Okay, so for those who do not know what they are, RAM killers, task killers, and RAM boosters are apps that are designed to kill tasks and boost RAM. Now, how do they do this? What's their modus operandi? It's very simple, really. They go into your RAM and clear it. They clear it out. They clear everything, all running tasks, apps, everything out, and ta-da! You magically have more RAM. You actually have more space to play with. Now, RAM space is actually important because your CPU or your SoC needs them to function. And as I've already said earlier on the Telegram channel, for those people who are on the Telegram channel, I said that in 2018 I used to have a 2 gig RAM phone. Yeah, I used to have a 2 gig RAM device, of which 100% of the time there was only ever 700 megabytes available for me to use as free RAM. Only 700, and I was addicted to PUBG. As at the time, I played basically every waking hour that I was alive. I got all the way to I think I got all the way to Ace one time, and then booted my ass back to Crown. Those guys at Ace, those guys were they were out of this world, let's put it mildly. Now the problem was that since I didn't have enough RAM, there was always going to be competition for RAM because there are system functions that needed to work to keep the phone going. The operating system itself needs space, but PUBG was a resource hog. It needed a lot of RAM. So anytime I tried to boot up the game on that 700 megabytes approximately, the game wouldn't load, and even if it did, it would crash immediately or soon after. So then I figured out quickly enough that I needed RAM to run my game. So I resorted to task killers and RAM boosters, and well, yeah, they did eke out enough space for me, so I was able to get into my game. So yay, the RAM booster has cleared apps out of the RAM, and now you've got RAM space free. Does it end there? Absolutely does not. It doesn't end there. Actually, that's just the beginning of the whole saga. Now, Android follows the good old Linux principle that states that free RAM is wasted RAM. So if there's a lot of free RAM space empty, Android considers it wasted. So what it's going to do is that it is going to preload apps into RAM. I think that's one other video I am currently working on right now. It's going to preload apps into RAM. So there are system tasks, there are system functions that need to run in the background. They're going to be loaded back into RAM. So it's kind of like a game of cat and mouse. You boost and you kick tasks and apps out of RAM, and the operating system simply goes and puts them right back in. We're right back where we started. So when I was playing PUBG and I'd kick apps and tasks out of RAM and then get my game in, over time, before I could play a game or two, now PUBG gamers know that the game matches are quite long, as much as 30 minutes or so, right? So before I would game for about 2 or 3 games or for about an hour or so, Android would silently and slowly put the system functions back into the RAM. So after playing 2 or 3 games, as I already came to anticipate it, my game would freeze, lag, and be kicked out. It would just go straight back to home screen. Why? Because there was never really enough RAM space to support the game, which was a resource hog, as I've earlier explained, and system functions. So in order to get back into the game, I did the same thing all over again. RAM boosters, press the button, kick them out of RAM, and I'd put my game back in. But whilst this game of cat and mouse, I played it with my operating system, There are several reasons why it is not advisable and why you shouldn't do it. In fact, you should kick all RAM boosters, tax killers out of your phone immediately, ASAP. Now, why is that? Well, first and foremost, Android is actually well equipped to manage its own RAM. Links will be in the comments or in the description. I've made several posts about it and I'd like for you to check them out. Android can, so you really don't need those. That's the first one. Secondly, it's kind of like actually redundant. It's actually quite, now that I think of it, it's kind of stupid if you want to look at it, because if you kick them out of RAM, if you kick system tasks and apps out of RAM, Android is simply going to load them back in. So the ultimate point of trying to free up RAM is defeated. That is one. Two, kicking important system functions out of RAM is actually quite dangerous because your phone needs those to run. And if they're not running, your phone, there's probably going to be a danger of the phone force restarting or simply going into a boot loop, like coming on but not coming on, coming on but not coming on. It's quite dangerous, really. A third one is whenever you kick stuff out of RAM, when you kick tasks and apps out of RAM, they are usually saved to the internal storage. So your CPUs will have to go back to fetch them and then keep them back inside the RAM. So there's kind of like read, write, read, write, read, write, read, write. And of course, the CPU is always communicating with the internal storage, saving stuff there, writing stuff there, and reading stuff back, and then saving to the RAM, and then, and so on and so forth. But getting app or task killers or RAM boosters to kick, those stuff out of RAM will force your CPUs to go back to the internal storage more and more to fetch them back so that it will keep them in the RAM. This would shorten the life of your internal storage because it has a certain number of reads and writes, as I've explained in previous videos if you've been following up, which is actually quite dangerous now for your internal storage because it will cause it to burn out and probably die earlier than expected. So it's actually not ideal. I know, yes, that lots of people who use phones with 2 gig RAM and 3 gig RAM would say, oh, come on, I need the space. They've been of great help to me. It's actually a case of diminishing returns more. It's kind of like, extending your arm out, to take a loaf of bread, and then the arm gets cut off and you never really get the loaf of bread anyway. I know it's kind of like gory. Yes, I get it, but it's really, I was trying to convey the importance or the danger of using task killers and RAM boosters. You really need to get those off your phone. You don't need them. Now, moving forward, for the people who actually say they do need them, you need to get a phone with more RAM and better CPUs or better SoCs. In this day and age, I keep saying it, especially if you use phones with Phone Touch OS or MIUI, you need a phone with 4 gig RAM. That's the least you should be looking at. In fact, worst case scenario 3, but you should really be rolling with 4 gig RAM devices, not 2, not at this point, not anymore, because I've seen a lot of young people. It's actually quite funny. I've seen a lot of young people, teenagers mostly, people in their early 20s who do not really have a lot of purchasing power. I do not have a lot of purchasing power as well. That you understand what I'm trying to say, who actually go for these devices. And as much as I try to tell them that you really, if you're an average user and you don't really give two shits, yes, you could stick with a 2 gig RAM device. But when you're going to be playing AAA titles, no, seriously, don't do that. Do not do that to yourself at all. Learn from my mistake. There's an old saying that that a smart person learns from their mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistake of others. They do not have to make that mistake themselves. So that's that. I will be stepping out of the chair, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.